Yeah, no worries. The only thing is that my Nugget PFP is very valuable. So if you intend to use it for the streaming, you're gonna have to pay me some royalties if you use my Nugget PFP.
Believe it, brother. Believe it.
But if you don't, you good.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nifty Nuggets Drive-Thru. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and like this video. If you want to find more information about us, you can follow us on Twitter @NuggetsNifty. And you can also download this episode on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We hope you enjoyed the AMA.
Yeah, I'll give you just a little bit of background on us, on who we are. We're a team of almost 100 people now. At the studio, we've been around for 5 years as a company, as a studio here in Argentina. We set out with the audacious goal of becoming the world's best team when it comes to character production for AAA titles. So, you know, those big games, those big blockbuster games, we make characters and we were like, hey, why don't we just try to be the best? If we're going to fucking do it, let's fucking do it right. So it was an incredibly ambitious goal because there's no like studios in Latin America working on AAA titles. So it seemed like a ridiculous proposition, but, you know, fast forward 5 years and I definitely think we're one of the best in the world for sure. Probably one of the biggest teams that are only making characters for games. Now our team is more than just artists for characters. We have engineers, game developers, sound technicians. You know, the whole caboodle. The whole caboodle. Yeah. So we're a big team, and can you share my screen, Jonathan? I call him Jonathan when he's slipping.
Yeah, I hear you. I know
Johnny's
that.
when he's doing a good job. Okay, so these are some of the games that we worked on. If you guys are on the Twitch stream, you guys can see. So you know, we've worked on games like Mortal Kombat 11. I think we made like something like 80% of the characters, thousands of pieces of gear. Injustice, Gotham Knights, you know, Street Fighter, Assassin's Creed. So we've been in the trenches. We're battle proven, battle scarred. I don't know what you would call it, but yeah, we've definitely been in the trenches. And you kind of during this journey of creating content for games, we realized that, you know, the costs in games are going up like a 20% per year, and that was really outpacing the growth in the industry. And we're like, hey, game developers are going to need to find a better and more efficient way of making characters for games. And at the same time, we were like, hey, all the money being made in games is by selling skins. So we're here kind of, there's an opportunity here. So we started developing a tool for game developers to actually be able to make characters very quickly. And in August last year, we took about a year to make this decision, just so you guys know. But in August last year, we were like, hey, instead of making something for game developers, we're going to release it to the public. And we're going to do it inside of the NFT kind of the NFT space. And that's where we're going to build our community and kind of build a reputation for ourselves and kind of release this into the public. We saw it would be a perfect fit. Obviously, it was extremely scary at the time. It still is a little scary. And so, yeah, in December, we announced our collection, which is Cypher. And I'm going to so you guys can, let me see, where is this? I think.
So you guys create the art and the characters for games, like they come to you with a theme and you guys draw it all up for them?
Sí, señor, but it's not just the real tricky part, the hard part. Can you share my screen, man? Yeah. So the what's it called? The hard part of all of this is building this in 3D assets and making it all work inside of the game engine, right? So you have the skinning, the rigging, you have to create all of these assets, model them, and then prepare them for game assets, right? So this is a really long process. So for one character, you're talking about like 3 months of work for one character. And the cost for something like this is generally around like $50,000 to $80,000. Once it goes through the whole production pipeline, right? So you have people like us building it. You have maybe some other people making the hair. You have the animators. You have, the riggers, skinning, and then people integrating it. So once you get the whole thing, facial animation, once you get all of that and you stick it into the game, it's something like $80,000. And, like 3 months of work, somewhere around there. And yeah, that's what we do. We do the characters. And so, like, if you think of like games like Fortnite, I think maybe like it's close to almost 50% of their revenue comes from selling skins. So a big part of the revenue actually comes from characters. So we're like, hey, we make the characters. maybe we should start making our own characters. But of course, at the time, we're like, who gives a shit about what we're making? So it's kind of funny. We're like, all right, maybe we'll start for a couple of years making content for game developers, and then we'll kind of make a name for ourselves, and people want to buy our own stuff. And when we saw what was happening in the NFT space, we took about a year to really like do a deep dive and understand what was happening in the space and kind of this shift in consumer behavior and some of the brands that were coming in, kind of the underlying technology, and just trying to understand if is this a fad, is this a rug, like what the fuck is going on here? Coming from the art background, I was looking at these NFTs and I'm like, how the fuck does this make any sense? I was like, this is a complete scam. Like I couldn't wrap my mind around it, but I felt there was something important happening. You know when like somebody really smart's talking to you and you're not really sure if they're pulling your leg or if you're just dumb. And so it took me about a year to really like, okay, this is a good direction to go in.
No, it's all of it. It's fad, it's hype, it's all of it. You were saying, Frozen?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you a question. It's been something that I'm glad to actually get a chance to chat with you, because I'm actually a digital animator myself and worked for quite a few big companies, but mainly in the film business. And I specialize in rigging and stuff like that. So I definitely know what all this process entails. But what I was wondering, actually, because I mentioned this in the chat, but I didn't know if you'd heard of this this thing that the guys wanted to do for Final Fantasy. This was ages ago, the very first sort of 3D movie back in the day, and they created this female character that they wanted to kind of do something similar in a sense to this, where you've got, I mean, as I see it at least, where it's this character that would then be sold. A huge amount of work went into it, and the idea was that then it's an actual digital actor that gets sold off to other productions and used, pretty much by everyone. So you got a similar face and everything. And it completely flopped and everything, but which was kind of sad. I was thinking it was amazing, to be honest. But this kind of reminded me of that, and I thought it was really cool. And what I was wondering was what are we actually getting? Are we actually getting this the fully fledged 3D avatar and access to the files somehow, or?
For sure.
Could you give me a breakdown of that?
You're going to have access to the production file. So, all of the material sets, the mesh, the game mesh, all the materials, the smart materials. Basically, we have like tools for you to be able to integrate it into the Unreal, where you're going to be able to have like all the micro detail. So part of it is shaders, part of it's our material sets. You're going to have all of that. So when you integrate it into the Unreal, you have a AAA asset, fully rigged and skinned, and it's rigged with the metahuman skeleton. And I think I kind of riff off of what you were saying, this was literally kind of a stupid proposition 2 years ago. What is needed for this actually to be functional and to be useful to people is that you need kind of like an industry standard for the animation side of things, right? So if every avatar and every game is just using different rigs, one avatar is not going to work in the other game. And what Unreal is doing and what the Epic team is doing is that they're building an industry standard for film, for advertisement and games. Basically, you're going to see this kind of convergence happening, and they're building the standard with MetaHuman. And so now I think everyone's going to start using this. And so now we have an industry standard. So basically we grabbed all of our content and moved it onto the new MetaHuman rig, which took an insane amount of work halfway through the project, because it was like, oh, this is what everyone's going to be using now. And so now you can just drag and drop the asset into Unreal and just start running around and shooting and start making your own games like right off the bat, which people in our community are doing. There's a couple other projects that just started dropping our avatars into their games and running around and stuff. So
I still think people don't realize how huge this is, to be honest. I was watching one of the videos that you'd led when you're talking about the factions and going a bit deeper in the design and everything. I was just like, fuck, this is crazy. I have to get in contact with these guys. And I was almost like a little bit kind of sort of sad about it, because it's just like, people aren't just going to realize. And all the effort that went into all the trades and how you set all that up, I will give back the floor to Crypto Track, but I just wanted to say I'm quite a big groupie of what you guys have been doing, and I think a lot of it is very early, and I think it's probably going to be a big long-term play. But if it works, I mean, this could be Fantastic. And I really love the design route that you went with these avatars as well, because you actually want to own them. You want them to be your avatars. So I think it's very, very cool.
That's what we work day and night for. We're like, even if you get a pioneer, like it's the most common one, they have to be so fucking cool. We're like, fuck yeah, I got this.
We did the exact opposite.
Yeah, I think what's happening too is that, and it's okay because we don't want to like drive everyone crazy with all this stuff, but the trend in technology and what's happening right now, what's like around the corner is insane for like virtual identity. So you just being able to pull up your phone and being able to do like a stupid dance or something with your avatar, and it just basically doing limb tracking, so it doesn't even need motion capture, and you could just like fucking make like stupid TikTok videos with your avatar and make a skit with a friend. Start like creating like your own Instagram account for your avatar, and you can just tell stories and all of a sudden have like millions of followers for just like this, or VTubing, building your own games. It's like this shit's gonna get wild over the next couple of years, but the technology is like it's just kind of there. And then when you couple that with NFTs, it's going to be nice. So like the visual wallet, one thing that's really powerful about it, and we're not like getting super into it because it's still kind of early, but it's literally a wallet. So you're going to be able to connect this to your MetaMask, and pull your NFTs. So one of those NFTs is going to be the avatar, but you're also going to be able to pull your other NFTs down and have, your 2D NFTs and slap that onto a jacket or a pair of sneakers. And when you can do that and then run around in the game, and it like, the value prop is just so huge there. So exciting stuff, my friend.
Yep. I mean, if this works out and metaverses can work out the way they could do, you got something pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it doesn't play out the way our friend Suck is proposing, but it's gonna happen. Hopefully the cool people will get to decide.
It'll come someday. We had an interesting conversation with a friend recently where I was telling him I was trying to convince a real life friend to get into the space, and he's a gamer and stuff. And I was telling him like, you can play games that you actually like. You can earn tokens by playing it. You can trade the items. You actually own them and all this stuff. And he was just like, nah, fuck it. And I was just like, yeah, I guess the space isn't quite ready for it quite yet, but. Yeah, that's a good thing, it means we're ahead of time. So
yeah. The thing is that once like the gaming industry can understand how to interact with NFTs, it's crazy. They're still trying to figure it out, and I think they're being very cautious. They don't want to take that fat L. So some of these big like basically they're corporations, they're taking their time. I think they're all working on it, and they're just trying to figure out how to get in, But once they can figure it out, the thing is that a lot of the bigger companies really have a bad rap. So you're talking, I'm sorry, guys, I'm just going to talk shit sometimes about people, but
that's fine.
But like, EA, Ubisoft, I mean, they've just like fucked their users over and over. And then you're like, oh, and on top of it, we're going to give them the power of, the NFTs that, I mean, we're just going to get skull fucked for the rest of our lives. Like, why are these guys like putting NFTs into the games? It's already bad enough with the loot boxes. So I could understand from a gamer standpoint. And also, I'll tell you something else. I think where we have a massive advantage, where we're going to be able to be competitive, is I actually don't believe any of these companies are actually going to give the assets to the players. Like, it will be kind of like a fake NFT, but it's
like IPFS or something.
They still control it. So I think that there's going to be few companies like ours that can actually compete with them visually, graphically, and then actually be fully decentralized, like, fully on chain and out of our control. So that's where I feel we're going to be able to be competitive, even when bigger players come into the space. But we'll see.
And it's good, I think, to have an expensive product as well with, as you say, a very fair pricing, and especially in a space where that's where I feel there's the biggest problem at the moment for gaming and P2E and stuff is basically just the fact that it's all kind of based on a bit of sort of nothing in a sense, and we're just waiting. It's way too financially driven at the moment, and it's too much of a divide. You want a much larger population playing your games with much smaller prices, and then be gaining interest on transaction fees and all kinds of things. And I think a lot of these projects are just trying to hit very small collections and trying to get a heavy price, when in reality you just want to onboard as many people in the world. And it's in my aspect, a lot of these things are failing just because people mint them, people try to make a buck of it and then sell them, and no one ends up having the time to actually play the games or enjoy them, or actually just value these assets. And holding a $15,000 asset for a game is kind of weird in a sense.
Yeah, 100%. I think everyone's gonna it's gonna take some time to figure it out. I can tell you kind of like our kind of our thesis or our direction is we do envision a world where we have hundreds of thousands, if not hopefully millions of users, and we can kind of talk about how we believe we're going to get there. And then we kind of have these two target audiences. One of them is your everyday user, like you were mentioning, who doesn't want to drop $1,000 on an avatar. And then you have the collectors who really do believe and are they either just love the product or they're just collectors. They just love having these unique and rare items, right? So these collections that we're making, so for right now it's the Cypher collection, and then later on in the year we're going to be showing the horror collection that we're doing. We see these as collectors items, and they're limited. And then in the visual wallet, we're going to have it open for like just your everyday consumer, where they can just jump in, buy an avatar, buy some sneakers and a cool jacket, and then just jump in a game and have some fun with some friends, and earn something, get back, maybe trade something, and then they're like see some dude running around the game with like all this cool shit, and they're like, who the fuck is that? And then they find out, oh, there's a Cypher collection, there's these collectors, and then you have this thing, and then they can so I think there's going to be this audience for the collector items, and you can see this in the fashion industry as well. Like they have some items that are more for the larger public, and then some that are very limited edition items. So that's the kind of the way we see ourselves landing.
But that's also where it's very different from other projects, and why I liked it so much is because there's a natural product. You can actually do something with it. You can equip it. There's a lot of work that's gone into the trades, as I was saying. There's all the items and the factions and the sort of the whole design around it, and you're actually owning something, as you're saying. Again, a lot of people probably don't realize this, but a completely rigged model and skinned and everything is a hell of a lot of work, and it's pretty much the only quality avatar that's on the market at the moment. And I feel like it's kind of what Neo Tokyo aimed to do, but kind of missed, to where you guys are actually doing it and doing it right at the moment. So, and also the whole educational stuff that I wanted to touch on that you guys are doing on the Discord, I thought was very well done. So yeah, a lot of kudos to what you guys are doing. I think it's a necessary step in the evolution of the space if we want this stuff to really happen. So it's good that you guys are doing it. I was interested in doing something similar actually a few months ago, but I would have done it solo, and it just took too long, and so I decided to do 2D. But yet, on that note, I'll let Tract keep on with this, and I'll just hang in the shadows. It was excellent getting a chance to actually talk to you this time.
Right, thanks, man. Yeah, and I appreciate the kind words. It goes a long way when it comes from somebody who like who's seen this stuff. We I don't the guys from the Angry Ape Army.
Yep.
They've been in gaming and film for a long time, and we talk to them. They're like, hold on a second, you mean like next gen generative characters? I'm like, is that even possible? And like, yeah, like how the fuck are you guys doing that? And we're like, here, let me show you. And they're like, what the fuck? And we were just like, I was like just hitting the random button, and these like characters were popping up, and all this shit was working together. Like, what the fuck is this? And it was so cool to see somebody who actually like got what we were doing, because a lot of the people that we had been showing are either from like, we were talking to investors that are more from like the traditional technology and tech companies, or and it's hard to like show, like when you show people. We talked to some guys that were like leads at oh god, what are these guys called? It's like one of the best VFX houses. Weta, sorry. Some of the guys that were like lead technical artists at Weta, they're like, you guys have what? You have thousands of assets, and we're like just showing them all the scanned assets we have, and they're like, that's got to be like the biggest library of digital assets we've ever seen. And it was just super cool to get those kudos from people who've been around, or the guys from Call of Duty too. And they were saying, they're like, you guys have been scanning and building this library for how many years? What the fuck are you guys doing? Like, what? It was fun. So there's those brief moments where, so we appreciate it.
No, it's pretty dope. But yeah, it's the same thing with Angry Ape Army, as you're saying. I really like what they did. They're set up with the trades and everything, but it is all still 2D and stuff. And I have messed around a little bit because I mainly work in Maya with a Python script to do a generator for 3D trades and stuff. And yeah, it's interesting to say the least to work with. So. But yeah, I've worked with ILM and companies like that, so I definitely get what you're coming from. So yeah, I'll let you take on the track.
No. Frozen keeps doing that. You guys, we can tag team. It's cool. Danlita, let me tell you what's going on here, right? So I'm a noob when it comes to gaming, right? So if it's like a gaming project, especially if our illustrious founder is into it, he will like help me out because he knows I get a little bit like flustered when it has anything to do with gaming because I'm not necessarily a gaming person. I'm getting into it, but I actually appreciate it because he's going to ask questions that I wouldn't know to ask. I'm going to ask the noob questions.
Let's do
which
it.
Is, what are you doing over there? I don't get it. You're giving me the ability to create the kind of characters that you would normally create for these AAA games. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, so this is, I'll actually jump in. So this is, can you guys see the Twitch stream at all? Because I'm sharing some images there.
I want to turn it on because I feel like it's going to have audio and it's going to interrupt the AMA, but let me see if I do it real quick.
You can just mute the audio. Like if you guys, because I'm screen sharing there on the Twitch, just so you guys could actually see, or I don't know if there's another, actually right now, I don't know if we're set up to do something on their Discord. No, probably not.
Bear with me.
Can you just share the Twitch there on their chat again, so everyone's had it? Okay.
Yeah, it's been pinned as well, guys. If you want to
share the Twitch there on there, and then just make sure to mute the Twitch stream.
All right, I've muted and I have it on now.
All right. So what you're seeing here are the 5 factions that we have. So from left to right, you have the hyper faction, which is basically very much inspired by degen culture. Us coming into the space, like when we go on voice chats, like half of the people were in PJs, and we thought it was really funny. We're like, "Fuck yeah!" so like these guys, you'll see there's some heavy PJ influence there. Then we have Rad Kids, who are like very much inspired. On you'll see extreme sports, heavy motorsports PJ influence there. The Outlaws, bandit territory, renegades, kind of the running. The Outlaws, kind of vibes, spaghetti westerns. Then you have renegades, the prototypes, kind of the running over here, which are kind of like these shadow ops. Then you have kind of the prototypes, kind of like these shady government organizations that run like military programs, and some of these guys just say fuck it and they go rogue, and they're just doing their own thing now. And then you have the Chosen, which are very much inspired by like the Templar Knights and the Freemasons maybe, and kind of like these secret societies, something that I've always found really interesting. And here you guys can kind of see how these factions are set up, and they're the different classes. So over here, from left to right, you have the pioneers that are going to be 50% of the supply. And we really believe some people are going to have a real interest in running around the metaverse in their undies. So we want to make sure that happens. And then also, it's not. The assets have value not just because of the rarity, but as they become more rare, they also have more 3D assets. So there's kind of more like intrinsic value to them. So you have the pioneers, then you have over to the right, you have the heroes, and then over on the far right, you have the icons. So they have full helmets, armor, and the whole thing. And obviously their companion teddy bear, because who doesn't want to have a companion teddy bear, right? And then here you have the Rad Kids, and again, the pioneers, the heroes, and the icons for the Rad Kids. And so this gives you a pretty good sense of what these different factions are like. And as I was saying, we want to make sure the pioneers, even though they're a larger part of the supply, we want to make them cool. And we actually even shown the coolest part of the pioneers yet. So after Mint, we're actually going to still be showing a lot of cool stuff that we haven't even revealed yet about the drop. So it should be pretty fun.
All right. If I understood you correctly, you were initially looking to create this. It's an engine to create this engine to make these avatars 3D rigged, but you were initially going to make it for devs and then decided to do it for the public, correct?
Sure. Yeah. Basically, we were like, if you're going to make a game like GTA, which these games are getting more and more expensive, we're like, you're going to need some sort of a tool or a process to make these characters faster and cheaper because it takes us like 3 months to make a character. And we're like, if you need to make these massive games, it's just not sustainable anymore. So we set out to build this tool, but it's kind of boring to make it for developers because basically developers are just going to want like generic characters. They just want like a dude in t-shirts and jeans, and it's not really exciting. So then when we actually saw this opportunity, like, actually there's an opportunity here to release this to the public, and we can actually make our own kind of worlds and factions and like build our own universes and stuff. It was super exciting, but we didn't know if people were really going to fuck with it or not. So yeah, we went from doing something for developers to then doing something for the public. So we were able to use all the tools, all of the content we already had, and then of course you have to layer new content on top of it. So let's say these guys right here. So this 3-piece suit, we already had it. That was already part of the stuff we were building for developers. But then of course you wanted to make it cool, right? So we built these helmets and this armor and all this crazy shit on top of it. But then the underlying assets were part of like the library we were building for developers. So we've been building this for a couple of years now. I can actually show you what we were building. Let me give you this.
Now the tool is available to your holders, correct?
Exactly. So let me show you here. This is, unfortunately, in the stream you guys aren't going to see like all of the beautiful quality, but when you have access to it, you'll be able to see it for yourself. So this is the tool that we use. What you're going to see now, this is a tool that we use that we've been developing to be able to make all of these characters, right? So imagine if it cost us, $50,000 for each avatar, we would have gone broke, and there's no way to make 3,890 avatars. So basically, what we do is we build all of the content. We scan a lot of it. We use photogrammetry, so it's like 100% true to life. Then it goes through a 2-3 week process where we rebuild it in 3D, get it ready for the game engine. Then we stick it into the character builder, and then we make sure all of these assets work together. That's an incredibly laborious job. It's all hand done, where you make sure each one of these assets, there are hundreds of assets, which means there's thousands of variables of all these assets working together. But then once they do, you can create thousands of options, right? So what you're seeing here is the internal production tool that we use to make these avatars. So as you can see, all of the content works on these avatars, and that's what makes it so powerful. So as you can see, I'm kind of just scrolling around, adding. Let me see if I can. No, it's good.
You're talking about the layers, right? The laborious work of making sure that the assets work together.
Yeah. And this is such a pity it's getting cut off on the head. Anyways, you guys are going to be able to try this out for yourselves. So, but you can get an idea here, right? So these avatars, basically, all of these assets work together, and this is what the visual wallet is going to be. You're going to be able to see the assets that you own, and then you're also going to be able to see the assets that are on the marketplace, right? And you can buy assets, sell assets, lend assets out, and then once you have everything set up. So here with this avatar thing, I'm going to add a little hunting knife, because why not? And then once everything is ready, you'll be able to then jump into the mosh pit, which is the game that we're building. But the idea here is for us not to build all of the game experiences, right? The idea, since we're building on the Unreal Engine, is really to leverage the massive community of game developers all over the world, and other developers can start making games and experiences that are compatible with the visual wallet, which is basically anything that you build into the Unreal Engine will be compatible with our visual wallet. And even users can start making their little mini games as well, which we already have people on our Discord starting to make their own games with these avatars. And yeah, as we find success, we're going to keep on building more games and experiences. And the idea is that you can earn basically rewards. We're still figuring out if it's going to be either tokens or 3D assets themselves. So this was a little demo we did with for a collab with Journey, the Journey Club. So we wanted to kind of show people what it's like, where maybe an influencer or a brand or IP, they want to kind of get content into the game ecosystem. It will be very easy for them to do. It will be easy for gamers to be able to interact with it. And so we're still kind of figuring out what the reward system is going to be during this kind of test period that we're going to be doing before after the mint and before the reveal. We're going to have like a leaderboard, so maybe the people on the top 10 get some sort of like legendary helmet or something. So we're already going to start kind of tying in rewards even at the demo stage. But yeah, that's basically the meat and bones of the situation, right? Now the place where you can buy assets, where you can visualize your avatar, and then you can use that as a launch pad for games and experiences.
So the first collection is the Cypher, correct?
Yes.
And the Cypher is like a full-blown NFT, right? It's just that people can go into your marketplace, access your library, and switch and swap out assets to make their Cypher the way they deem fit, right? The way they want to, correct?
So what I was showing you right now is our production tool, which gives us full control over everything. So everything is editable and customizable. And the balance we're finding for the consumer product, right, what's going to be the visual wallet, is that we're allowing a certain amount of customization, and then we're locking certain assets in to really preserve the value of like a collector's item, right? So let's say fast forward 2 years from now, if this is extremely successful, there might be collectors who actually want to buy, from the first drop, 2002, whatever, May 20th, I want that asset. And then somebody's like, oh, I swapped out the tennies and then the pants. And we're like, oh, well, then what's the value? Because you switch some things. So we do want to preserve the collector's items value. So what we're doing is we're allowing you to switch the helmets, the headgear, glasses, hats, all that kind of stuff, and weapons and gear. So backpacks and melee weapons, and like the assault rifles and these kind of things you're going to be able to switch off, and then everything else we're locking in, and that way you can lock in the rarity and the collectability of it as well.
So nice. When we do like Crypto, when we do like a switch or something, do we have to like remint, or is there going to be a transaction on the blockchain? Is it going to be stored essentially elsewhere, or
it's basically pulling the data off of your your MetaMask or your wallet. It's pulling that data, so you're going to be able to switch things on and off, because we're basically pulling that data into the visual wallet. Like, this is not going to be living inside of our server, right? We're going to be pulling these assets from your wallet so you can visualize them. Then we compile them, stick them into the game, and then pull them back out and then put them back into your wallet, right? So this is a technological feat.
Is it just you guys that do it on the metadata sort of thing?
Sorry?
Is it just you guys doing it on the metadata sort of side of things, and you're updating it in the background, so there's no transaction for anyone any moment, or?
Yeah, so we're what's it called? We're basically pulling the asset from the servers into the visual wallet. And we're obviously using the metadata to basically keep track of the asset, but we're actually pulling the asset from the server onto the visual wallet, then compiling that. So for example, let's say you have 5 helmets, you switch one out and you put another one in. There's no transaction fee because that's in your wallet. You own it, right? Now, if you're like, oh, I'm going to sell this asset and I'm going to buy another one, then of course, there would be a transaction fee. And that's actually one of the big things that we have to figure out now, is going, okay, well, at the beginning, when this is small, sure, you can do it on the Ethereum blockchain. There's going to be innovation on as well. So we're kind of like, maybe the fees aren't as bad. We'll see how that develops. But when you're really talking about hundreds of thousands of users, we're probably going to have to find some other solution. And basically, like the way we see it is that, well, I don't want to really get into like, I'm not the ideal person to explain this, but we're looking into other cheap ways with other chains to be able to not have like these expensive transaction fees, but still hold it on the Ethereum blockchain, kind of like where you're really holding the actual digital good, and then you're using other chains for quick transactions, so it's cheaper. But
yeah, kind of like we would be doing with IMX after with the nuggets on L1. But in that sense, I was kind of just thinking that it doesn't even matter that much because you're probably only paying like, I don't know, if everything's well written and stuff, $5 to $15 for the transaction. And if I'm looking at the Twitch at the moment, if you're switching out one of these helmets or masks or something, you wouldn't kind of expect to be really, if you're playing a game or something, you wouldn't expect if you want these to have value, you don't want to get them too easily. So having a bit of a price tag attached to it, I wouldn't mind paying, $5 to $15, maybe even $30 just to switch out one of these masks or something, or to be able to sell one or whatever. So I think it's not too bad of an issue, but that's just my sort of personal take. Obviously, cheaper is always better. So,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. I think when we're talking about kind of like a mass market product, like I was telling you, there's like the collectors, and then there's kind of just like your everyday person who I think will be like, what the fuck? Like I'm paying $30 to just transact, So that's kind of where we're thinking like down the line what it's going to be when you have hundreds of thousands of users, or maybe millions of users, right? So at the beginning we're not really worried about it. At the beginning, we're sticking on the Ethereum, but we're also looking for other options as this thing scales.
Yep. Perfect.
I also think what Frozen was getting at, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, is so if I change the helmet on one of my ciphers, right, and then I go to sell it, is it has that updated the? I understand what you're saying by it's all done through your visual library, but does that update the metadata then?
Yeah, it should.
Because what I'm asking is like when I change the helmet, if I sell it to someone, and I don't revert it, I'm selling it with that changed helmet, correct?
Yeah, so that's something we're working on. There's different ways of going about this where you're recompiling the metadata, and that's something we're still working on and like finding the best way of doing that. And so part of the metadata is going to be locked in, and then part of it is going to be kind of like a bundle, right? Where you have like a bundle of NFTs in that one NFT, right? So part of it is what's locked in, and part of it's what's editable. So again, I'm not the best guy to talk about this. We have our tech team who's the ideal people to work on it, but that's something.
Oh, that's absolutely fine. No trouble.
Yeah. So, basically, like the NFT is basically like a bundle of NFTs.
Yeah, I think I'm
what's editable and what's not editable.
Fair enough. Now, this is what I'm curious about. So now that you went about it with the public, what's the apex of what you envision? Is it fair to say that what you're working for, and when you say things like if this thing takes off and gets popular down the line, what you're envisioning is the greater public coming to use the tool, as well as whether it be your first collection cipher or any subsequent collections, using those to be able to play in whatever games devs allow them to use your assets, or any metaverse land where your assets are allowed to play. Is that like the apex of success for Collider Craftworks?
All right, I think there's like a couple kind of milestones of success, right? So one of them is when you start seeing other developers developing content that they want to integrate into the visual wallet. So just I'm not 100% sure we discussed this because I was just on another AMA. I don't think we did, but to give you I'll give you a couple of examples. We were just talking with a company the other day that they build virtual experiences. They were contracted by an agency that represents musical artists that are some of the most well-known musical artists in the world right now. They're about to go on tour. They're building a virtual experience for them, and they need a really robust avatar solution for this, right? And they need it on chain and all this kind of stuff. They have no fucking idea, like like the smart contracts, the NFTs, like they have no fucking idea. And then the avatar solution that they have right now really kind of sucks. So just the whole experience is going to suck because, people are in that experience, but they want to see each other, and they want to see each other in a cool way. And you want to look cool too, right? So they contacted us and everything. We're like, we can't help right now, but they were like, hey, can we put you guys in our roadmap? And like, we're going to be working with these guys. This is what they're developing and all this kind of stuff. We're like, you don't really need to, because what you're doing is compatible with what we're doing. Like we're building this tool where people are going to be able to build their own avatars and jump in. And if you're building in the Unreal Engine, it's going to be pretty simple for us to connect your experience with ours. Like that's literally this export tool where we're compiling the assets, bringing them from your wallet, compiling them, sticking to a game experience, and pulling them back out. Like all that tech, like that's what's valuable. And you don't need us. Like you can make your experience, plug it into what we're doing, and you're good. And you don't need to know anything about NFTs, or you don't need to know anything about that. You just have to make the experience, lock in, whatever deal you have with your with the musical artist and licensing, and you're good. Then we were talking to another developer too that they're making experiences for like big conventions. They're working with some of the biggest franchises for sports. So some of these franchises, they want to be able to have like virtual experiences for their fans when they come to the stadium. They can interact with like virtual content, buy NFTs, gear up and get all cool sorts kind of merch for their avatars and run around and all this kind of stuff. But again, they need a robust avatar solution, and they don't have one. So there's nothing on the market right now, just like an off-the-shelf, really robust, cool avatar solution. And if you go out to try to make it, good luck. And if you are lucky, it's still going to cost you 2 or 3 years, which you don't have. So we see our position in the market, strategically, like we think we're in a really good position, basically, because I think like almost, all brands are going to need some sort of interactive, immersive experience. And then avatars are going to be at the center of that, right? And there's just a handful of companies doing it right now. And, when you go, well, who's in the best position to really, succeed and be competitive? There's not a lot of them. So that's kind of like one of the big ones, right? Where you see people developing content and plugging it into the avatar. And another one, another big one.
One second. Before we go to the next milestone, just a quick question. That first agency that's working, I guess, to do like metaverse experience, when you let them know you're not gonna have to add that you're working with us in your roadmap, because the way we're building it is just so you guys will be able to use it. How they resonate with that? How was that received?
I don't think that was the ideal thing. Like ideally we're like, hey, yeah, let's work together, we'll onboard you guys and all this kind of stuff, which is definitely the vision long term. I think they're excited about it. But I don't think it's solid enough for them to go like, hey, to their investors and say, we've locked these guys in, because that's essentially what they want to be able to do. They want to be able to say, hey, look, these are, the best right now. We've locked them in. They're we've got a contract and they're going to build all this stuff for us. That's what they want. But I think as they see like this stuff actually working for other people, I think it's going to be huge, because you don't need to lock in anything necessarily. And all the stuff that we're going to be building kind of like for more of a mass consumer product is going to be really powerful. It's like people are just going to be, so I'll tell you like just kind of the other side of this, right? Well, anyway, just to answer you, I think it wasn't like the answer they wanted. But yeah, we're like, guys, I'm sorry, like we're building something to be able to work at scale, not just to work with one company.
That's what I thought, right? And I really want you to hold in your mind the completion of the milestones of success. But I want to touch on this a little bit more, just so I get a bit of a vision of where you guys are going. So the reason why I figured that was the case is because I figured they need something for their investors, and if they don't understand, which it was pretty clear from what you said early on, they didn't understand what they were doing as far as when it comes to avatars. So for them to convince their investors that they're doing the right thing, they need people like you that do understand to say, hey, they're using us and it's going to work because of XYZ, right? So how do you, this is a multi-pronged question, but the first part of it is, how do you bridge that gap? Because you're saying, well, it'll catch on when they see that people are starting to use it. How are people going to start using it besides the grid?
For sure. So there's a couple things here. One of them is right now, no one's going to give a shit about us unless we succeed, right? Unless we can actually prove ourselves in the marketplace, actually deliver these assets, get them into people's hands, build a community around what we're doing, and really prove ourselves in the marketplace. Like no one's going to give a shit about you, right? And we've been doing services, we've been working for other companies, our whole lives. Like that's exactly why we're building this. We want to, build things that we're proud of and things that we resonate with, right? So if we wanted to work for other companies, we could do it till the cows come home, right? There's a ton of people, knocking on our door asking us to work on services for them. But we believe that the tools that we're building are so powerful that once they're completed, we're going to be able to work with all of these companies because it will be pretty easy to onboard them, right? So number one, we need to make this drop successful. We need people to actually have access to this content, see how it works. Once we have that in place, we can start building this larger consumer product. So once that consumer product is ready, when a company comes and they go, hey guys, how does this work? We're like, all right, just give us your access to the experience you're building. They give us access to that. We connect it to the visual wallet, and then they can just log in, make an avatar, and jump into their own experience.
It's actually a great.
They're ready to go. They're ready to go, and we're like, see, that's basically you guys are ready. So we're like, okay, what kind of content do you guys need? And then we see if it makes sense for us. So when you're talking about like these sport franchises, it makes sense. It makes sense to maybe make some like custom content for them, right? You're talking about some of the biggest sports leagues, some of the biggest teams in the world. So like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll make you guys some helmets and some cool jackets and shit, right? But we're going to be very selective of what kind of companies we actually build custom content for. I think there's a massive opportunity, for example. So if you guys kind of think of like musical artists or athletes who are not going to get like a Nike deal, right? There's probably hundreds or even thousands of them in all of the big, the main regions in the world, right? There's thousands of them literally with millions of fans each. And basically we can go to them and say, hey guys, this is what we do. And either they come to us or we go to them, and we can build out, whatever it is, like a cool drop for their fans, like, either sneakers or jackets and hoodies and, whatever they want. And all of a sudden you have 1 million new users on your wallet, right? People are buying this stuff, and then now they're in the platform. They can jump in games. They can buy other content. They can sell some of the stuff that they have. And so you could onboard like millions of users basically with each one of these kind of custom drops that you do for either, a musical artist, athletes, and there's thousands of them all over the world who are never going to get a Nike deal, right? But we control, production, distribution, and supply. So there's a massive opportunity there in that kind of segment, right? Where you're not talking about those huge blue chip brands. You're kind of like right in the middle. There's a massive opportunity there. And that's when I think like these big kind of experience creators will see the value, and they will actually be able to just see it for themselves. Like, hey, I just connect my guy, I can jump into my experience and we're good. Like, all right. And that's what we don't have time to do right now, right? And that's why we're really focusing on this drop and getting this thing done.
Dan, either, because I got like a million questions. Yeah, that's what I thought. How long do you have left with us?
Do we have?
It's okay if it's very limited. I just want to know.
Do we have another one after this? Okay. We have 5 minutes, dude.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna very quickly shoot off community questions. If you could just answer them as quickly as you can. Say it again. Apologies.
No, I'll just do yes or no answers.
Cool. First question. I faded Collider months ago thinking I had no shot, but last minute FOMO has left me regretting that choice. Are there any avenues for attaining whitelist at this point?
We're all out, but this is only half of the collection, so there are only 3,890 pieces. So it's a small collection, and then we have the second drop for the female ciphers. So there is still a path to glory.
Fair enough. Next question: why does the reveal date take so long, and how are you going to keep up the momentum?
It's not that it's taking so long. Like, that is when we're going to have the avatars ready. What we did want to do is give people access to their mint as soon as possible, so then they can really have the power to decide if they want to hold on to it, if they want to sell it, if they want to flip it. And we didn't feel it was fair to just keep our community like waiting and waiting. So we're going to give them access May 20th. They can do whatever they want with it. And between the mint and the reveal, they're going to get access to the visual wallet and a demo of the game, a demo of the visual wallet and the game. And that's quite a bit when you talk about like a project before they actually do the reveal, like actually having access to this content. And we're also going to be showing some really cool stuff that we haven't showed yet of the collection. So that should be fun.
Is minting out during this market condition a concern?
I think it'd be silly not to be concerned. I think it would be kind of foolhardy. And at the same time, I think we're really confident. And then at the same time, if we don't mint out, like we have our roadmap set up for the rest of the year, and we're really confident in the long term of the market and what we're doing and the value people will see when they have access to the visual wallet, to the game. And I think that's really going to bolster the support and the confidence in what we're doing. So,
Do you have a plan if the mint doesn't go well? What is the mint structure?
okay, so basically we have everybody who's already certified and they've submitted their wallets and they're on the list. If somebody doesn't mint in the first 24 hours, that's going to go to a backlog that we have ready to go of notorious members inside of our community. And if those guys don't mint out, then we're going to release it to the rest of our community.
Got it. I got like 7 more questions, so as quickly as you can answer is appreciated, brother. What's the timeline for Collider? If you got to like fade this question, feel free.
But just in case I don't get to say anything, I just wanted to show you guys, this is what you're going to be minting. So you're going to have access to, this is actually our market, what's it called, the marketplace on our website where you're going to be minting. And when you mint, you're going to get access to one of these helmets, which represents one of the 5 factions. So you're going to know what faction you minted. And this is a GLTF, so it's supported on Opensea. So you're going to be able to have like a 3D helmet on your Opensea. So it's going to be pretty fun.
That's like ape helmet looks dope.
Yeah. Okay, so let me see over here. There we go. Okay, so this is what it looks like. 20th of May, we're minting. Then we're going to have access to a limited version of the visual wallet. Then you're going to have a version of the visual wallet connected to the mosh pit, which is the game. So you're going to be able to build your character, jump into the game. And then we're going to have the reveal on the 30th of June. After that, we're going to deliver the assets. So you're going to actually have, the 3D asset, be able to put it into the Unreal Engine, do whatever you want. Hopefully you also have a GLTF version, so a 3D version of your avatar on your MetaMask, so you can actually see it. Then we have the second drop, the female ciphers, and there we're going to complete the collection. Then you're going to have the alpha of the visual wallet and the game. And then we're going to be revealing in October. We're going to have the grand reveal of the second collection, was a horror themed collection. So that's kind of our timelines for or basically our milestones. And then the airdrops are starting on July 15th, and they happen every single month from there on out to the end of the year. So we have 6 airdrops planned till the end of the year.
Cool.
And you guys can see this on our light paper. Sorry, on our Medium, so you guys can check it out. All the info's there.
I want to elaborate on this question a little bit. As far as mint structure, is it all whitelist?
Exactly. Yeah. There's no public sale.
And as far as timeline, is this like a long-term business where you see yourself, your team, your company working on this for years to come?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I don't really know much about character model creation, but this is an asset in Unreal. Could this easily get ported into other Unreal games by devs?
Yeah. I mean, there's people already doing it. Like the Pet Hooligan guys put our avatar in. I think it was like after we had a call and then we just sent it to them. We're like, hey, you guys want to try us out? I think Xverse, they just showed some stuff, right? Xverse, they just showed some stuff of our Crash Dummy. They're like, yeah, it definitely looks compatible, and you can see our little dude running around. There's been a couple of dev teams that have put it into their games, and then there's people in our community starting to build little mini games with it too. So
you're the founder, correct, Donalito?
I don't like the term founder very much. I think
tell me what term you like.
Founder or CEO if you're running like a a billion plus business company. I'm the director of the studio, but like a lot of people founded the studio, and it wouldn't have been possible without them. So I'm not like a huge fan of the founder term.
You're passionate.
Like I'm the founder.
No, it's cool. You're passionate, like someone that created this and works hard on this. So it's very hard for you to answer in only yes and no's.
Yeah.
I got 5 more questions, but if you can, I understand. Ask your team if that works.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Will there be mining or only crafting?
Next.
I joined Collider in February, and one of the things that was disappointing was how much of a grind the whitelist process was. Can you talk more about your approach to community and how you plan to sustain that after mint?
We definitely don't want people to feel like they're grinding, and we're constantly trying to find better ways of people like getting access to the whitelist and really rewarding people that do great stuff. So we're just learning, we're figuring it out as we go. And we also needed to make sure that the whitelists and spots lasted till the mint. So that's why it was really difficult to get your hands on them at the beginning. And now that we're close to mint, we have the reserve that we're hoping for. So now it's a lot easier. And yeah, we're learning as we go, my friend.
You answered this already, but I'm gonna say it again. Approximately how big is the Collider team?
We're close to 100 people now.
Okay.
We started off of the year at like 80 plus.
All right, and then this is the last question from the community, and then I have one last question. The last question from the community is, can we get more whitelist spots for the Nuggets? We're bullish! ! I agree with that question there.
Yeah, I definitely. No, Juanito's saying no.
Oh, Juanito's a hater.
You guys, I'll straight up, you guys were one of the coolest communities that we. Everybody who joined the Discord was super cool. So yeah, definitely, we're also bullish on the Nugget community, and we appreciate the love.
Docs Juanito, come on screen so we can see. Screen grab you for being a hater.
Around.
All right, this is the last.
Advisor. Here's the advisor. Look, check him out.
Oh, if it's an advisor, for sure. Doc, screen grab him. Get him. Oh, screen grab that face. We got him. We're going to make memes of him from here to eternity. All right. Danielito, thank you for being cool. The last question I have is, I'm just working to understand it, but I'm getting a firm grip. What you're saying is, the way you get this traction, where then the companies are going to want to come work with you guys, is by your community using this in your own game and in other games that maybe people will say, Danielito, I don't got the time to build the avatar, so I'm going to use your tools so that your players, your community can come in here and use it, correct?
League of Legends dominate.
Okay.
How did League of Legends, they reinvested in the community. Basically, like, dude, I don't even understand how, like, what the fuck are these founders doing with all the money? Like, how have they not built like some of the most amazing games? I don't even understand. Like,
crypto, Lambo.
If I had $10 million, you know what I'd do? I would get 5 million of those. I would set them aside for our development, and I would get the other 5 and put it right back into the community. Say, hey, I'm doing a $1 million challenge for the best fucking game. I'm doing a $100,000 challenge. I'm doing $100,000 for the best environment art. So it can be space, it can be medieval, it could be anything. Then I'll do another challenge for the best music video. In a month, you know how much content we would have for the visual wallet?
I don't know why you acting like you don't know. They buying Lambos with it. Stop acting like you don't know. This is crypto.
I'll be winning all of these competitions. Don't worry. I'll be there building.
Danielito, this
We're
sucks.
Gonna build, bro. We're gonna fucking build.
This sucks because it's not the best question to end off with, but I am super curious, and if I don't ask it, I'm gonna feel away.
One last one.
But it's really not the best question to end with, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So what I'm curious about, right, is later on, right, you guys get these bigger companies wanting to come use you guys so they don't have to take months to build out avatars for their whatever decked out games, whether it be AAA or whoever's coming to do this. What do you see is the direct benefit to your holders?
Like right off the bat?
No. Like
not right off the bat.
later on when that happens, when you're hot and people are coming to you using your tool.
So it's basically like I see people supporting us right now as wanting and expecting the same kind of benefits you would get as an early stage investor. So you don't know what the valuation of the company is going to be. So basically, you get a discount on whatever the valuation ends up being, right? So once we have things up and running, any like investment opportunities or the first opportunities are going to go to our community, right? So they're going to get a discount on whatever it is that we're doing, right? If it's either a token, if it's marketplace benefits, like whatever it is that we're going to be able to do, the first dibs are going to the people who supported us.
Respect. So something like maybe if there was an IDO or something like, you're going to let your holders get dibs on it, right? Sure. That type of stuff, right? Okay.
Our objectives are aligned, right? Like if the people who support us from day one are doing really fucking good, that's assured success for us for the next 10 years. So
awesome.
That's the vision.
Shout out to Cloud for bringing Collider Craftworks back again to the Nifty Nuggets. Juanito, Cloud said to check your DMs. Shout out to JL who made the connect. Big shout out to our founder for coming here and hanging out with me and helping me with some of these questions. Big shout out to Danielito. Good luck to you, man. This marathon that you're doing, I'm impressed, but I'm sure it's going to take a toll on you. Drink some water and get some rest tomorrow. Good luck.
Sure.
Good luck to you and Collider Craftworks. I will be minting if I get lucky enough to get one of the whitelists, and I will be a holder in your community. Thank you very much. Any last words you'd like to leave?
Dude, it will be a fun ride. I can't guarantee success, but what I can't guarantee, it's gonna be fucking fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I'm going on the ride.
All right, brother.
Yep. I'll be there. Thank you very much for this, dude. I really appreciated this.
Appreciate you guys. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys. For real, you guys are really cool.
And apologies to whoever we held you up from next. Apologies, Nugs. Apologize for that. Good luck.
All right, guys. Peace out.
Bye-bye.
If you like this AMA, reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get access to our future AMAs. We also have a main YouTube channel where we are covering wider topics in the crypto and Web3 sphere. So if you're interested in any of that information, please make sure to find the Nifty Nuggets on YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter @NuggetsNifty, and make sure to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We'll see you all next time.